You are now listening to the Film Frequency Podcast, hosted by your professionally unprofessional film critics, the Film Bros.
Well, we are here. Welcome to the Film Frequency. I am one of your hosts, CEO Haize, and I am joined by the prodigal one himself, Mr. I don't even, you know what, I had like a dope, the stupid ass name to call you, but it's like with all this live streaming shit and figuring it out, it completely
threw you off.
Yeah, it completely threw me off my game here. But we are here. We missed a week. I did do some exclusive content for the YouTube channel in between there, but we've been, it's stuff going on. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so it is what it is. We missed 1 week, but we're back now. What's going on, JayB?
Not much, just going through this pandemic, going through life. It is what it is, as you said.
How have you adapted to not being able to like go to a movie theater and see new movies? Because I'll tell you what, like this is probably the longest stretch maybe of my life that I have not been inside a movie theater. Like, because it's just, go ahead.
It's just really weird. Because when you're used to doing something, a lot, like a routine type of thing, and then you're just not doing it anymore, it just kind of throws you off. And it's not only with that, it's with like a multitude of different things. There's so many different things that I'm used to doing once a week, or what, like getting my hair cut, for example. Yeah. Just different things that it throws you out of your routine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it is a routine, and I think the movie theater had become a routine because it was like going to the movie theater almost every like Friday evening and stuff, and that was just the thing to do. And now it's like I miss it, bro. Like the funny thing is I miss the smell of walking into a movie theater and smelling like the popcorn being made fresh. Like I miss all that shit, bro. And the fact that it's not happening is just, it's really weird to me, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. But hopefully it all comes back. I don't see it. I mean, we could go into a huge talk about this, but I don't see things changing until maybe August. Mm-hmm. I know we're going to get into it in a second, but Cinemark trying to open up in July. I don't see that happening, but we'll get into it, mix it up a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's weird, man. But yeah, you're right. We'll definitely get into it. Let's not completely hijack our routine, our plan, and go into it now. But so let's get into the first topic if you're ready for it, bro. This one is the Green Hornet. It's going to be a new movie coming from Universal called Green Hornet and Kato. Bro, I for one, I love the Green Hornet, like the original. I even like the one with Seth Rogen. The fact that that one wasn't bigger than what it was kind of surprised me, because I honestly thought it was, for just a comedy and just like a mix between like comedy and action, I thought it was a pretty good movie. That was really at Seth Rogen's almost his height. So the fact that it didn't like do anything, like to my knowledge, like that movie didn't do shit. Kind of.
You mean like financially?
Yeah. It was a complete box office bum.
No, man.
Bomb.
With Seth Rogen?
Yeah.
No, bro. They almost did $250 million. Did like 200.
Did they really?
I'm 99%. I mean, I can look it up real quick, but I'm pretty sure they did like 250 mil, if not mistaken.
Well, see that would make sense. Like, I don't understand, like, and why didn't they make a sequel then? I remember Seth Rogen at first was talking about the fact that he had like sequels in mind and everything, and it just didn't come to be, and it didn't make sense, because like you would think that a movie with Seth Rogen, a comedy that was a revamp of a franchise that people have fond memories of, just the fact that it didn't get a sequel, it didn't do anything, and I think he actually owned the rights at one point. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not Seth Rogen, but Green Hornet has they've had a following for a long time. Yeah, I mean, It is a comic book thing, so it started a long time ago. It was a radio show in like the 60s, or maybe even before that. And then like in the 60s, I remember like Bruce Lee was the original Kato when they had the TV series.
Exactly.
So it's been around for a long time. It has a good following.
Yeah, and it did $227.8 million on a $120 million budget. When you factor in the marketing and promotion too, it was probably closer to a 250. What do you think? Between 250 and $280 million to make and market that movie. So it did 227 back. So it wasn't a complete bomb. I guess they made some money off of it, but it probably wasn't worth the risk.
You're putting in $100 million. You're putting in $80 million for marketing.
No, I said between 150 and 180 counting marketing. So 120 just to make the film, about another 50 to 60 million to market the movie.
Yeah, so they made at least 50 to 75 million, I think, which is fucking healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially back in what that movie came out in 2011, so it was definitely right. It wasn't a complete bomb as I alluded to earlier, but they probably thought it was going to be bigger than that. They probably just thought, is it worth the risk of putting more money into a sequel versus like what they're going to make back on it? So it sucks, but that was Sony too, and Sony is notorious for like not following through on franchises if they don't make a certain amount of money. Hell, we've seen how many times they've revamped Spider-Man. So it being a smaller franchise than that, they probably didn't want to do the risk. But Universal is a studio that is more willing to take chances. So we may, even if this movie isn't a complete huge success initially, we may still get to see at least 2 movies out of it. I think Universal will probably commit to that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, Universal takes a little bit more risks and stuff. Yeah. But have they rumored at least who might play the Green Hornet?
No, as far as what I've read, there's nothing about it. So it's basically at the starting stages. Of course, all work probably stopped on it with all this COVID-19 stuff going down. So I'm pretty sure that this announcement kind of came out just to generate some interest in it, and that casting out. And it almost doesn't matter who you cast as the Green Hornet, honestly. Like because the actual Green Hornet is more of a comical thing, and he kind of blunders his way through stuff. It almost doesn't matter. It's Kato who we're all looking forward to and seeing who's going to be cast as Kato.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but I think we won't hear anything for a long time. Like you said, they just did some stuff to generate a little bit of buzz, and that's it for now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, do you think, like, because I think Universal is searching for a new franchise after Fast and Furious ends. I'm not saying that this is necessarily going to replace it, but I think we're going to see a lot of franchises, a lot of things kind of thrown at the wall from Universal over the next couple of years. Hobbs and Shaw is probably going to get 2 sequels at least. We know one's already in the works as well, but Fast and Furious is really Universal's biggest franchise right now. Yeah, they revamped The Invisible Man, working with Blumhouse. There's also talk of like the Dark Universe stuff coming back, but I don't know what Universal has up its sleeve, so maybe this is going to be it for them.
I mean, if I have to guess, I'd say no, because I think in order nowadays, not back from like our time, but nowadays, I think in order to be a successful franchise, you have to have some blockbuster names on the marquee. And the reason Fast and Furious was able to go so long, they had Vin Diesel, they had Paul Walker, but I mean, I wouldn't consider Ludacris like a blockbuster, or even Tyrese, Michelle Rodriguez. They're good, like, B names, not to offend them or any of their fans, but it's the truth. But what they did really well was they would always bring in new people. They brought in The Rock, they brought in Ronda Rousey, they brought in Jason Statham, and it kept on evolving. And also the movie, at least for the first maybe 4 or 5 ones, kept on evolving. Now it's kind of the same thing over and over. Yeah. Like it's a heist movie now.
Yeah, it changed from a franchise built around cars and racing to like they're full on heist and superhero movies. Like you can't tell me Vin Diesel isn't a superhero in these Fast and Furious movies. But go ahead.
I know. No, but yeah, so I think you have to have at least 2 blockbuster names to work around in order to build a franchise. Unless if it's like a horror franchise, in which case you just need your main villain to be someone that's connected with the audience, and that's all you need for a franchise.
That is true. Well, let's move into the next topic. For topic number 2, Trolls went to straight to streaming first, and I think honestly, the last thing I read said that they've done 50 million so far on VOD, which is not, according to its budget, the fact that it was supposed to be a theatrical release isn't huge. But when you think about how now straight to streaming things can possibly be bigger, we're getting into the next one now. Disney's doing their first one, but this is going straight to Disney Plus, so they're of course not going to make the type of any money outside of new subscriptions. But Artemis Fowl is going to be coming to Disney Plus June 12th. Now, because we've gotten word that a lot of social distancing is going to start being taken back on May 1st, do you think they kind of pulled the gun too fast on this, or do you think that they should have kind of held off and done the theatrical release for Artemis Fowl?
Nah, I don't think Disney's stupid. They know I'm going in the movie theaters anytime soon. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says, what anybody on social media says or the news media says. No one's going in any movie theaters anytime soon. So they're probably figuring why delay it. And actually, Artemis Fowl, if I'm not mistaken, that's supposed to be one of their biggest movies this year from Disney Plus. Yeah. So I was shocked that they didn't. I mean, they didn't have to necessarily release it, but I understand why. They figured, hey, let's release it and start bringing. Again, it'll help the subscription base. I always have a hard time though, because with wide theatrical releases or any theatrical release, it's easy to measure the success because we talk about box office numbers.
Yeah.
With things like Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and stuff like that, the only thing they really have to base off of is subscriptions. And that number is kind of skewed. So, and like Netflix, for example, they're super secretive about their data and their numbers. They don't always release it. So it's so hard to tell, like, what was the box office success? You know what the reviews say and the ratings and the critics and guys like us, but I'm talking about from a financial standpoint, you never really know.
Yeah. I mean, Netflix is historically, like you said, restrictive on what they release and what they do now. We hear a lot about the things that do great on them, but very little about the things that don't do great. They just get canceled or they don't come back.
Sure.
But with Disney Plus specifically, I think this is a win for Disney Plus because one thing that we've seen, Netflix stocks have risen over the course of this. Disney Plus, I think, has passed 50 million subscribers now, which was their 3-year goal. They hit in under a year, which is huge. Yeah, which is huge for them. But I think the thing that like people who do stuff like we do and we critique media and everything, the exclusives for Disney Plus have been lacking. A lot of what Disney Plus has been living off of is The Mandalorian coming there that's been exclusive so far. They've had some exclusive, but nothing like huge exclusive. Home Alone, the series was supposed to be their next big one. That's gotten the production on that stopped as well. So I think when you look at Disney Plus searching for exclusives to bring to their network, a movie that wasn't tracking that well. Artemis Fowl is this young adult novel series that, Disney probably had hopes that it could be this franchise. It wasn't tracking like it was going to be a box office success. So why not bring it to Disney Plus? Whereas if people don't love it, you have more of a chance of people watching it more because, it's at home, it's free, it's included in the service. And maybe the sequel to this, if it does do well on streaming, is a Disney Plus exclusive. And they've just added now, they've taken something that would have been a theatrical bomb and taken it into a success on their streaming service and an exclusive. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have, and this doesn't only go for Netflix. I mean, Disney Plus goes for all the streaming devices. They have to come with fresh content all the time. Yeah. Netflix is really good at that. Amazon, while they don't bring it as much as Netflix, they still bring good content, new content. Not as much as Netflix, but they still do it. Disney Plus is the weakest in terms of new content. The only reason, and I know some people might disagree, but the only reason Disney Plus is this financially good is because of their library. Yeah. It has nothing to do with and like you said, Mandalorian, although I've never watched it, I know that was a big talk, but in terms of fresh new stuff outside of Mandalorian, it's really the library what people are after. But what happens when you subscribe, you've seen all your favorites from when you were a kid, you showed all your children your favorites from when you were a kid, and you watched them 2-3 times, then what?
Yeah, you make a good point there. I think, and that's been the biggest thing. Like even when I did my little mini review on like Disney Plus as a service, like after the first month or whatever, it's people want the Marvel content. People want all those exclusive, and I think they wanted to make these originals as have the production level of a theatrical release, and it slowed everything down. The thing about Netflix that keeps it is that there's a new Netflix original dropping every week, and
yes,
they keep what works, they throw away what doesn't. Disney Plus, I think, should have. I get it. They released when they did. At least they did have The Mandalorian to release, but they had nothing prepared to come after that. They should have really had something going. I don't know if it should have been recorded at the same time as Mandalorian, but it should always be something in queue. If you don't have 3 or 4 exclusives at a time this early on, we understand that as consumers, but there's no reason in this day and age with how many things that are exclusive that are able to kick out over the course of stuff. Even Amazon, like you said, Amazon doesn't have the release of a Netflix, but all of Amazon shows are so good. They're almost all award winning. If I'm not, like, most of their big exclusives have been nominated.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like you said, Amazon, they might only have 1 release a week, but it's consistent every week. Netflix, I don't care what week. Go and look up any week in the upcoming 3 months. Yeah. I don't care what week it is. There's at least like 4 or 5 films for the week. There's at least 2 or 3 shows coming out, series, at least maybe 1 special or documentary. They're just blowing up. Whereas Disney, I think Disney actually has a better opportunity than Netflix to blow up if they give the right content, because Disney's fan base is rabid.
Yeah.
and they're loyal. So, and they have an opportunity because they can do a lot of animation with different Disney characters. Whereas I don't know what the budget would be like, but all you're talking about is voice actors and the animation itself, and you could be spewing stuff out like crazy where the budget's not ridiculous, but no, they're not doing that, which is surprising. I think they're just trying to get by with what they are now, and if they feel like, you know what, there's a decline, let's go ahead and release Avengers.
Frozen. Yeah.
One of those.
And, I mean,
you know?
they've had The Mandalorian. They had the Lady and the Tramp live action remake, which we watched. It was pretty good for like a straight to streaming type thing. They also had, I can't remember the movie with the dog and William Dafoe, which was really good as well. So they have had exclusives, but they haven't had any big exclusives that I think people would sign up for and say, I'm getting Disney Plus because I want these several exclusives. Right now, most people who are signing up for Disney Plus, like you said, they have children. They know that they can sit their kids in front of Disney Plus, give them the remote, and let them make their way through the library. But it needs to be more than that if this 50 million subscribers is going to be sustained and grown. So, you know, they do have a better base than like a Netflix because they do have the franchises that are immediately like nostalgic for us, but we need more than that if they're going to be a continued success and really, you know, be able to battle with Netflix in the long run. So
yeah, if they were the only dog in the race, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But there's so much and every day I'm learning about new streaming. The other day we were talking about what is it?
Quibi. Yeah.
Quibi. They came out of the blue.
Yeah.
They spent millions, I know, on advertising because when you watch YouTube and stuff, they're like on every other ad, and Facebook ads, they're all over the place. But Quibi came out of the blue, and some of their content, I haven't seen any of it, but based on the trailers, it looks pretty good. The production looks pretty good. It's good stuff.
And I think the thing that helps Quibi too is that their content is. I think all their episodes are 10 minutes or less, right? Something like that. I know there's not more than 15 minutes.
Little bits.
And in the day and age that we live in, where people like to consume things fast, it's really perfect for that. Now, most things that I've read are suggesting that it's not going to be a long-term success, and I think it may have more to do with what the fact that they launched and all of this, and even like their launch. I think it was you can only access it from a mobile device rather than from like your TV. Like so, those type of things are going to hurt it some. But I really think that as a platform, if they can withstand this and make the necessary adjustments, they have a huge chance to be a big platform because it's like perfect for millennials to consume their content.
But you know what I think will happen, unfortunately, and it's just the nature of business. Mm-hmm. If this thing pops up, what do you think is going to happen? Netflix, and Disney Plus, they're going to start bringing content that's like. As a matter of fact, Disney has done it. I mean, they have shorts like they did it with the Toy Story. It was like a 7-minute short film. Mm-hmm. So if it becomes really popular, though, Disney and Netflix will just add it to their content, their library, and just do little tidbits, 8, 9, 10-minute videos, and make it mobile only if that's what people are looking for.
For sure. I mean, Disney Plus, they're gonna figure out how to make it succeed in the long run. Quibi. I'm not sure like what major studios or whatever are behind it, but the content looks great. So I think that they have a chance. I don't think it's necessarily just going to be a failure. It's probably going to be a failure out the bat. But now that and the thing is that their CEO has said that they're going to be open to changing it according to what the users wants. So I think they're already planning on allowing you to stream it from like a Fire Stick TV and stuff, so you can do it on your actual TV rather than just the mobile devices, which I think will bode well for them as well while people are stuck in the house. It's just like, I get it, your content is 10 minutes. It's the perfect amount to watch while you're taking a shit, but at the same time, people want to have those experiences of watching it on these big screen TVs now that we're able to have and still feel cinematic. So that's going to help them in the long run.
The one thing because I don't really do much research on them, but what's their price point looking like right now? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it at all.
Because it better be small, because if they're charging like $7 or whatever, people are going to choose Disney Plus is $6.99 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. People are going to choose Disney Plus over these guys because these guys' library is nothing close to Disney Plus.
Exactly. So we'll see. I'm definitely looking out for Quibi. But moving into the next one. This one is one we kind of alluded to at the beginning of this. Cinemark, the CEO, says that the company hopes to reopen its theaters by July. And even having new big box office like Tenet to open in July. Bro, this is one of the stupidest things that I think people can have the expectation. Like, it's not going to happen. Not by July. Like, we're not even going to be fully, like, I think people are having the mindset that we're going to be fully back up and running May 1st. And it's not. Like, they're doing this in stages. And even taking the stages away, you still have to get over the mental hurdle that people are going to have to go right back into public places. Like reopening, if you reopen in July, that's fine. I think you can do that. You're not going to make very much money, but to reopen it with big box office movies in July is a huge no go in my opinion. What do you think?
I know if it was my film, I'll be like, to hell with you. Yeah. No, you're not releasing shit. Yeah. Now here's my whole take on this, and I'm looking at this logically. Can they reopen? Sure. Mm-hmm. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the article I read, the idea I had before even reading the article, they kind of did the same thing, which is I'm thinking maybe have 3, maybe max 4 people to a row. Mm-hmm. If you need to, do every other row and you stagger it.
Yeah. That's
every other row, or either every other row or every row, but you stagger it. And then maybe 3 or 4 in a row. Yeah. So you can get maybe, figure there's 4, I'm just guessing, maybe 40 rows. You got 4 to 5 people per row. You're talking about 200 people. And what you do is, most movie theaters are usually like 8, 10, 12 screens. Have only 2 movies showing, nothing new. 2 movies that are both blockbuster movies. Mm-hmm. Like old blockbuster. I'm talking like, whatever, like one of the Disney movies
or something.
Right, something like that. 2 blockbusters, each of them showing on 6 screens apiece, or 5 screens apiece, or 4 screens. That's all you're showing, nothing else. None of the little guys, nothing else. That's how you can do it. Now, let's say Cinemark decides to do it that way, which I think is the best way to do it. And let's say people go, they sell out. These 200 per screen sells out. What do you think the media is going to do?
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
The media is going to annihilate their ass.
I think so.
Because they're going to be like, there's a pandemic going on, and they only care about their bottom dollar. Yeah. And the publicity, that's not my belief, but we see what's going on. They open up in Jacksonville, my hometown state, Florida. They open up the beaches. Now, people are going crazy that they did that. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of idiots that went to the beach and that were not social distancing. So they make it bad for those other guys that might do the right thing. But my whole thing is, I'm not trying to get political. If you want to open something, but also realize if you're going to go, use common sense. But at the end of the day, the media is going to blast anybody who's doing that.
But the thing is that you can't trust people to use common sense.
Exactly.
And I think that's what is the most dangerous about stuff like that reopening too soon, is that people... you have young people who just don't give a damn. I mean, like you had young people at the beginning of this throwing quarantine parties in dorms and shit, and it's like you wonder why people are getting sick. But when you give people the opportunity, we've all been like caged animals for the last month and a half. You let people run to the beach, and I get it. Everyone's not being stupid. Some people just are legit excited to be out, excited to even be seeing other people. Maybe they've been stuck in just with their family for so long that they're probably not thinking about it. And you have to think about that type of aspect. You can't trust everyone to do the right thing. There's a reason why we had stay home orders, because when social distancing was just requested rather than being required, people weren't doing the shit. So, you're going to have those spikes. And that's the thing that's going to be most dangerous about this, is you're going to have spikes. I'm glad that they canceled Comic-Con, because Comic-Con already was like a breeding ground for fucking diseases.
People would have went. Yeah, people would be like, I don't give a shit about COVID-19. I'm going.
Yeah, exactly. And like you already have like people who go to Comic-Con every year and they know they're going to come back home and just be sick with the cold, because there's so many people crammed in such a small area. Now, when you take a virus that's as dangerous as COVID-19, you just want to mitigate those chances of that. So I don't know. Like, your idea of staggering it is great. Maybe every other row, like you said, you do 4 to a row. Make sure you're keeping your social distancing. But
no concession stands.
That's the thing, bro. Like, even with fast food joints being open, I think that they're gonna, like, that's how the movie theaters make their money. If they can't do concessions, right. There's no point in a movie theater reopening, because that's where they make their money.
Actually.
So
you're right. You're absolutely right.
So I don't know, man. Like, how this is all gonna go down. And I said this before, I think on the Awakened Soul, my solo podcast, is that I really don't see everything going like back to where people are movie theaters and businesses making big money, especially movie theaters. Like, holiday season is pushing it. That's at the utmost lucky. I really don't think until like March of next year. That's almost a whole year away before people are really back into like feeling comfortable with this. And that's if we don't have another spike. Every time we get another spike, that date of people being comfortable going back to things like that gets pushed further and further off.
The thing I don't understand, and I don't know if we spoke about this on camera or off camera, but I know we spoke about it. I don't understand why these guys are freaking multi-million-dollar companies. Mm-hmm. Think outside the box. Why not do like an outside thing? I've seen so many local places, like in my area, they're doing like, a night in at the movies, driving with your car.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are little small places. They're not even movie theaters. They're just little open parks. Yeah. They're putting up a blow up screen, and they're gonna have a movie, and you pay like maybe $2 and you drive in your car.
Stay in your car. Yeah.
Exactly. You bring your own food. You want to drink your beer. Or I don't drink and drive in, but whatever. And do your thing. Bring your family. Everybody, $2.
Yeah.
Why not? And I'm not saying they do it for $2, but why not do something like that?
Well, the drive-in movie theaters, I think, are going to be the ones that are most set up for people to go back for blockbusters. Like this is your opportunity. If you own a drive-in movie theater and you don't capitalize off this once everything starts opening back up, then you don't deserve to own a drive-in theater, because this is your opportunity. Specials, hell, to say, like, you know, if they usually charge $20 per car or whatever, knock it down. $10 per car, come in, you get to keep your social distancing, you get to stay safe, but you get to see a new movie. You get to have that theater experience. That's what's going to shine in a time like this. And like you said, movie theaters, meaning you did talk about it on an episode, turn the back of your theater, like most movie theaters have that parking lot that's in the back that people hate walking all the way around to the front door. Help, get a big projector to go on the back side of your theater and then show a movie there. Ease your way back into that. Every night, 7 p.m., come watch a movie once the sun goes down. Once the tickets sell out, that's it. That also makes people feel like they're missing out on something. If you do if you do ticket, like, they're going to try to purchase the tickets right away because people are just going to be excited to go back out. Like, this is where we're going to get to see who really has unique marketing and what companies are going to be at the forefront of doing unique stuff, because there's no reason why you can't try new things going on. Even if you have the inside of the movie theater opened up, a couple of screens, do something on the outside for the people who are afraid to come in, and you can make your money on both sides of the coin that way.
See, right now is extremely, and I don't know if anyone's thinking about this, this is a very important time for places like AMC and Cinemark, not because, oh crap, they might go out of business, but let me tell you why. If these studios that are making these movies figure out, hey, you know what? We can sell our shit to Netflix and still make good money.
Yeah.
We could sell our stuff to whoever and still make good money, because Netflix and these places have been forever trying to push out the theaters and get all the business. If the theaters don't do something quick, these studios are going to figure out there are other dogs in the race. Yeah. They don't need the theaters. And then without the movies, the theaters have crap. So they need to figure out a way. You know what I'm interested to do? And I have to check. I'll look into this after. I'm curious to see what Landmark is doing, because I know Landmark is owned by Mark Cuban, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Is it?
Landmark Theaters?
Mark Cuban owns so much.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has a stake in that. I'm curious to see. I haven't heard any, because they're not like millions of them all over the place, but I'm curious to see how they're doing. Yeah. But because I know Mark Cuban is a pretty smart guy and innovative. So
yeah, for sure. He's definitely at the forefront of stuff. So he's one of the first entrepreneurs to really be able to take a look at like sensors and what sensors were doing for companies rather than like software itself. So yeah, Mark Cuban, I think he's definitely, if anybody comes up with it, would be his company. So we'll see. And if AMC Theaters, which is our next topic, AMC Theaters officially is preparing to file for bankruptcy. Well, we were supposed to talk about something else then, because it's all theaters, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into there. Preparing to file for bankruptcy. Now, for me and you both, finance, we pay attention. For companies like this, I think people hear bankruptcy and think, oh, they're going out of business. Bankruptcy for major companies like this is to protect assets. This is to protect their theaters, this is to protect their buildings, so the owners and landlords of those buildings can't kick them out of it. It's really a protection method rather than it means that the company's close to closing. Now, it does provide some protections. If they do end up getting a bailout or something, then they can come out of bankruptcy. But I think that them even going to file for bankruptcy shows that they're worried about how this is going to affect them long term. Let's say we open May 1st. We know we're not going to be making money, so we might as well file for bankruptcy. What do you think? You agree?
100%. Like, a lot of people, when they hear the word bankruptcy, they're thinking closed doors. Yeah. There's different types of bankruptcies. There's a bankruptcy where, yes, you close your doors and that's it. We'll never hear of them ever again. But then there's also bankruptcies where, like you said, it's just to protect assets. The CEO of AMC specifically said, we're not going out of business. He never said we're not filing bankruptcy. Yeah. But I think he was very he said those words on purpose. There was a way he said this. Very intentional. That's what I'm looking for. He's very intentional on the words he used. And I mean, he bought this company for billions of dollars. I want to say it was like $4 billion or $2 billion. It was some ridiculous thing. I'm talking about the CEO, and he's the largest shareholder. It's obviously a shareholder thing, but he's the largest shareholder. They're not going to – I don't think he's going to let them go out of business. Like you said, they might file bankruptcy just to keep the assets safe, but they're not going to close their doors. I just don't – with a guy like that as a backing, I don't think so.
No, they're not going to close. And I think that was the worry for a while at first, and it made sense. But this is now officially like says that it's going to be highly unlikely that they go completely out of business. I do think that there's a big chance that AMC may close like 25% of their theaters.
I was about to say
that's
yes.
more likely.
I could see that.
Sure. that they can do that. And those buildings, it's not like it's 1,000 people who are going to come in and move into a movie theater. So even if they close those down, they wait a year and a half for their business to build back up. They'll go back and buy those buildings again. They'll go back into those theaters and reopen them. So I think that's going to be a chance of it. If AMC is smart, and this is my opinion, because it's like it's an added risk, I would look at first closing the movie theaters that are located within malls.
So I'm trying to think, because I had an idea as well, but I think I like your idea a little bit better. I was thinking in small areas, because like your places like Chicago, New York, LA, those are going to stay open. But your smaller areas where maybe you don't have high numbers, you want to close that. But due to the fact that malls aren't open now anyway, that might probably be their first bet. And then after that, like if they have to do a second round, then go into the small areas. I like the idea of malls because you can't get into the mall anyway.
Yeah, true. Do you think that
the cost to lease in the mall is ridiculous?
It's ridiculous. Do you think that there's a chance that, and AMC is in a weird position financially right now, but like a Landmark or a Cinemark, do you think they now go into trying to own a couple of drive-in movie theaters?
Let me tell you something right now. I can't tell you who's going to own what, but you better believe after this shit is done, we're going to see a lot more drive-in. It's going to be back like the 60s. We're going to see a lot of, I'm not saying they're going to be all over the place, but you're going to see a lot more than you see now.
The major cities is definitely going to get
major cities definitely. I think in my life, I've seen 2 drive-in movie theaters. One here, one in Florida, and one in New York. And I don't think I've ever seen drive-thrus anywhere else, and I went to so many different places. But I guarantee you we're going to see a lot more of them after this.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I live in like, especially in the Midwest. I've lived in the Midwest almost the whole time I've lived stateside. St. Louis, we did have it was on the Illinois side. It was about like 45 to 50 minutes away from St. Louis proper. And then even here, we have one like in Ohio, it's like 35 miles from where we are now. But I think in the Midwest specifically, where there's a lot of more open spaces than a city like a state like New York or whatever, I think those are the places you want to look at to do drive-in movie theaters, because you can do a test there. The cost of living is way cheaper here. The cost of buildings are way cheaper here. Open up an AMC drive-in movie theater, for example, here somewhere on the outskirts of Columbus, Ohio, and really try to make it a big deal once you get in a better place. And I guarantee you, because people aren't going to recover socially from this for years. There are going to be people who are afraid to go in groups for years after this, and I think you can benefit by doing that.
If there's any major theaters listening, Landmark, AMC, you're looking for 2 marketing guys, hit us up.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move into the next one. This one is the one I'm excited for. I know you're not the biggest comic book movie guy, but Matt Reeves has said that the new Batman movie is not going to be an origin story. He actually also talked about the depiction of Batman a little bit more, saying that Batman needs to be not really happy, so to say, like the Batman that smiles or whatever, but the fact that we need to kind of bring the joy back, and a Batman who enjoys going out fighting crime, who's not completely worn down by it. So the fact that it's not going to be an origin story, I think Batman is one of those characters we don't need. Or the only people who need origin stories nowadays, in my opinion, are the smaller known comic book characters. But people like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, like they don't need origin stories anymore. What do you think about this not being an origin story?
So, as you know, and those who listen to us frequently know, I am so far from a comic book head. However,
you love Batman.
Everybody on the planet knows Batman's origin story. Yeah. The same guys. Everyone knows Superman's origin story. Everyone knows Spider-Man. Even me, I know them. So you don't need an origin story. Now, I am telling you right now, I'm kind of excited about this movie just based on what I've read. The fact that he wants to do a more, I think the word he used was like a humanized Batman. Yeah. And the first thing that came to mind is like the way Joker was depicted. We've never seen a Joker like this. We saw as much as we can talk about Heath Ledger and his performance. This is more of a take on Joker's actual personal life, not just him trying to kill Batman. It was his own personal life, and I would love to see something like that. Like, we haven't really truly gotten to see that. We've seen mixes of Batman and his and him as a non-Batman. What is it? What's the character's name?
What are you talking about?
Batman as a like his
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce
Wayne, bro. Bruce Wayne, right?
Yeah. There you go, Bruce Wayne. Yeah, that's just for those who think I'm bullshitting about being a comic book head. There you go. I would like to see more of that, and it doesn't have to be the origin story. And as a matter of fact, in the article, he put Not necessarily an origin story or him like 30 years later. It's him on the come up.
Yeah.
And we've never really seen anything like that. We've never seen Batman on the come up. We've always seen him, again, origin story or always years later down the road.
Yeah. And even the original Batman with Michael Keaton wasn't an origin story. Like he was Batman. He was Batman when we saw it. So, and I think that's kind of the best version of it, because we don't need Batman. We know his parents got shot. It was Joe Cool who shot him, or it was a version of Joker. Like whatever. We know all that. We don't need that unless you're going to completely mix up his origin. I don't think there needs to be an origin story anymore with Batman. So the fact that we're jumping into this, we're getting so many villains. I think like confirmed, we're getting like Riddler, Catwoman, who else has been confirmed? The Penguin has been confirmed.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because you know way more about this than I do. I feel like I've seen literally every Batman movie that I can think of. What movie did have an origin story?
Batman Begins was definitely an origin story.
Come on, bro.
Batman Begins.
You talking about with Michael Keaton?
No, Batman Begins. The first one with Christian Bale was an origin story.
Oh,
we got to see him whole training.
That's the only one I did not see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I saw Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. I didn't see that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one was definitely an origin story. But yeah, you're right. We haven't, like, and I think it's because, like, and we always have gotten scenes of, like, his parents getting, I don't need to see Martha Kent getting shot anymore. I just don't need to see it. So I think Matt Reeves, and what Matt Reeves did, one of my favorite trilogies of all time with the Planet of the Apes trilogy that he did. And it's one of the best 3 movies ever for it. Like, they're not all, I think the second one is the best out the bunch. The third one was not as good as the second one, but they're all really good and they told a cohesive story. I wanted to see his take on this. And this is what I think we lose so much with comic book movies, is that they feel like they have to do certain things that happen in the comics and XYZ. And yeah, those moments are great for us comic book nerds, but I really just want to see a great take and you to be invested in what you're doing. And I think we're going to get this. And I've said this before, like, Robert Pattinson, he's going to kill it as Batman. I know people are just Twilight. If you haven't seen the actor that he's become, go and watch Good Time. This dude is able to convey so much emotion through his acting now. He's become a great actor, and he's going to nail the Bruce Wayne part. If he's been training and can do the physicality, he's going to nail Batman. I really think everybody's going to love this movie.
Robert Pattinson's not stupid, bro. He knows when you look at Robert Pattinson, bro, honestly, this is the first time in my life I think I've actually called him Robert Pattinson. I call him, it's that guy, Edward from Twilight. Yeah. So he knows people do that. I'm not the only one. So he's gonna try to bust out of that with this movie. And I think honestly he's going to do it. I know a lot of people are doubting him, but I don't doubt the kid's ability. Yeah. And with Matt Reeves and everything and the way that this is going, I think it's gonna be a good movie. I really do.
Yeah, I definitely think it's gonna be a great movie. He has my faith in him in this one. So we'll see. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna move into our last topic, and this is our guy, man, Martin Scorsese, who got completely shut out for The Irishman, bro. I don't think he should have. But he's doing another movie called Killers of the Flower Moon, and Paramount has been concerned about the project's budget. He's reportedly hoping that Netflix or Apple comes in and pays for this movie to get done. You would think after, like, I know Irishman didn't win as many awards as people were thinking it's going to, but the reviews for it were great and amazing. You would think people would be like, oh no, we can't sleep on Scorsese anymore. We have to be behind his next movie. The fact that major studios seem to now not be willing to pay for his movies again is just weird to me. Maybe it's a changing of the guard. Maybe it's ageism. I don't know, man. But if Netflix picks this up again, it's going to be another hit for Netflix, I think.
All right. So here's my thing, right? And I'm not saying this because Martin Scorsese is my guy. I'm just saying he came out with The Irishman. People were talking shit. The movie's 3.5 hours long. Yada yada yada. Netflix bought this movie for over $100 million. I don't remember the exact amount. Netflix numbers were great. They don't release data, but they said they did great numbers, and I believe that. Look at Rotten Tomatoes. I know Rotten Tomatoes is just one aspect of reviewing, but I believe the last time I checked, they were like 96%, which is crazy for Rotten Tomatoes because they're super harsh and critical when it comes to reviews. It was in a lot of different critics' best movie of the year of 2019. It was nominated for a crap ton of awards. I understand it didn't win the big ones, but it actually won best film for a lot of smaller awards. Not the big ones, but smaller awards. So the film was great. Martin Scorsese. Now, here's my issue with this film. Paramount is tripping hard. You have Martin Scorsese, a mastermind, a genius, and you're telling me also to follow up with that, you have two names like Leonardo DiCaprio. and Robert De Niro, two of the greatest ever, and you're worried about making money? Come on, bro. Yeah. You're going to make money, obviously. Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio alone is giving you money. Then you got Robert De Niro and you got Scorsese. Paramount's just tripping. Here's what's gonna happen though. They're gonna piss off Martin Scorsese. He's gonna say to hell with you, and he's probably gonna go straight to Netflix.
Yeah, and
that's what I think is gonna happen.
And what I think is gonna happen, to add some more on top of that, is I honestly think we're gonna get Scorsese's gonna sign an exclusive deal for Netflix. He's gonna sign gonna sign a 2 or 3 picture exclusive deal with Netflix that he's just gonna make 2 movies for them, and these studios are going to be pissed the hell off. And could you imagine, let's just say Scorsese has come out with a movie. I think we even checked it when we did The Kingsman, like at least one movie over like the last 3 or 4 years. Every year he's come out with something. Right. If you allow Scorsese to just focus on building content for Netflix, and Netflix is going to give him whatever budget he wants to. Yep. You're going to have people
and creative control.
And and he's going to get to do whatever he wants. This is huge for like after The Kingsman, and especially because people were so sleep on it and didn't think it was going to be what it did. If I was the owner, well, Fox is gone now. If Paramount, Universal, I would have been at his door with a blank check. Whatever you need, do 2 movies for me. I don't get why he gets the disrespect that he's been getting from studios for so long. This is one of the greatest directors, a generational director. There's not going to be another Martin Scorsese maybe ever in our lifetime, bro, who's been able to do what he's done at the level he's done it at. And the fact that he can't get the major studios behind him is just mind-boggling to me, man.
I mean, with this guy, it's like printing money. But here's what I think, as much as we love him, and nobody has said this, so I'm just assuming, I think behind the scenes, this dude is a hard dude to work with.
Hard to work with? Yeah.
Only because not because he's an asshole, I don't think. I think it's because he's such a genius, and he's probably so meticulous in everything he does. Even like this man will shoot a 2-minute scene and research that scene for like 6 months.
Yeah.
A 2-minute scene. Yeah. And I think a lot of people and I think that's why some of his films, the budgets get a little crazy. Because don't get me wrong, his budgets are freaking crazy sometimes. But the final product is beautiful. So I think the best bet, like you said, is for Netflix to wrap him up in an exclusive deal, a 2-3 film movie deal. That'd be great. And let me tell you, if that does happen, I promise you, we're going to see some of Scorsese's best work ever. Because at that point, it's not going to be like, I'm trying to make money or I'm trying to make something for Netflix. It's going to be like, I'm going to prove to these dudes that I still have it. Yeah. And we're going to get some really interesting stuff. Yeah. I think it's going to go somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, we just got, like you said, DiCaprio is money every time. Even if the movie's bad, he's usually great in it. Yes. And De Niro just, at this age, gave one of his best performances ever in The Kingsman. So, yeah, they're crazy if they don't... If they can't work this out with Paramount. But if he ends up having to go to Netflix, I guarantee it's going to be an exclusive deal. Even if they don't announce it as that, his next project is just going to automatically be announced as a Netflix exclusive.
I have no idea what this movie's about. And frankly, I don't give a damn, because those 3 names is all I need. They sell, if this whole COVID-19 thing wasn't going out and they were doing pre-sale on tickets, I'll be one of the first people to buy it just based on those 3 names. I have faith in those 3 characters that I'm going to get something quality when I go and watch. I don't care to know what the movie's about. I don't want to know, actually. I'm just going to go in and watch just like that. And I know I'm going to enjoy the movie because that's just what these people bring, all 3 of them.
Yeah, the book that this is based off of, this is another nonfiction book. So this is another true story. And it's about the FBI. So again, and people have been loving like these true crime style things. So the fact that it's also a true story and can be marketed as such, this movie's going to be huge. So the studios need to get their shit together, bro. But that's it, man. That's all of our topics for this week's episode. What do we have coming up next, JB?
We got one of my favorites, probably my favorite Denzel Washington movie ever, which is, I know it could be debatable, but it's going to be Training Day. And that was brought to you by the Film Family. We did a poll, and I think it came down to Training Day. And what was the other one? You remember?
The Departed, right?
Departed. It came down to Training Departed, very close. I believe it was 1 vote to set them apart. But maybe we'll do Departed in the future. But definitely, yeah, Training Day, we're going to see Denzel turn a little crooked.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think we haven't talked about this, but the next at least big new movie that I can think that's coming out is that straight to Netflix movie with Chris Hemsworth. I don't know if you've seen.
Oh yeah, the one where they. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I forgot the name.
So that may be the next new release that we do, but Training Day will be coming to you in a few days. I can't wait to talk about it because it's one of those movies that I know for a fact, bro, we're gonna differ on, and I love it when we have difference of opinions on movies.
That means you don't like the movie.
I don't like the movie. I can't
bitch.
stand Training Day. I can't and again, I agree with you that it's probably one of Denzel's best acting roles, but the movie, I'm not feeling. But I haven't watched the movie in easily 5 to 6 years. So I'm going to rewatch it for it. Maybe my opinion will change on it. I doubt it.
Watch it for Eva Mendes, man.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that scene alone. But
hit the pause button.
Yeah. But yeah, bro. So that's it, man. Go ahead and give them your social media. Let's get the hell up out of here.
Yes, sir. I can be reached on Twitter at the P1JB. That's at THEP1JB. Also, go ahead and check me out on Facebook, Javed Bashrula. Haize is going to give you the rest of it.
And you can follow me at CEO Haize. That's CEOHAIZE. You can follow us collectively at the Film Bros Pod. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, thefilmfrequencypodcast@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to be part of the discussion, you want to help go ahead and decide our next content like the Film Family did with Training Day, make sure you go and search us out on our discussion group on Facebook. That is The Film Frequency. That's it, bro. I got nothing left. You got anything left?
Just want to thank everybody for the continued support. I check all the time the freaking views for platform. We're like almost at 800 or something.
That's crazy, man.
It's crazy, and it keeps going up every day. So please go ahead and check that out. Check out all the other content. The content, I know we were kind of slacking this last week. Again, it's my fault 100%. I got real life came in the way, but things got to go back to normal. We're going to keep shooting out that content. Just check us out on everything. All platforms.
All platforms, but that's it. This has been another episode of The Film Frequency for my brother, the Prodigal One, JayB. We out this bitch. Peace.
Peace.